My fiancée admitted she accepted her ex's proposal 2 weeks ago while we were planning our wedding, so I calmly returned her engagement ring and changed the locks. 2 months later, she called hysterically because her perfect match was already married with kids. I never imagined I'd be sitting across from my fiancée at our favorite Italian restaurant, watching her nervously twirl pasta she wasn't eating, knowing my entire future was about to implode. Madison and I had been together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months, deep into planning our September wedding at a waterfront venue in Seattle. I'm Nathan, a software developer, 29, the kind of guy who color codes his calendar and enjoys debugging code at 2 a.m. Madison worked in marketing at a tech startup, ambitious and social in ways that balanced my introverted nature. We fit together, or so I thought until that Tuesday evening when she cleared her throat 3 times before speaking. "Nathan, I need to tell you something, and I need you to just listen," she said, voice shaking. I set down my fork, watching her face cycle through guilt, fear, and something that looked almost like excitement. I ran into Connor at the tech conference in San Francisco 2 weeks ago. Connor, her college ex-boyfriend, the one she'd barely mentioned in 4 years. My stomach tightened because people don't lead with that unless it's going somewhere bad. We started talking, just catching up, and it was like no time had passed. He understood things about me I'd forgotten, things about who I was before I became this person who plans everything and worries about metrics. She was talking faster, words tumbling out rehearsed. We met for coffee the next day, then dinner, and Nathan, I felt alive in ways I haven't in years. He proposed at the Space Needle during what was supposed to be a closure meeting, and I said yes. The restaurant noise faded. "You said yes," I repeated, looking at the engagement ring I'd spent 3 months' salary on. 2 weeks ago, while we were confirming our wedding venue and finalizing the guest list, you got engaged to someone else. "I know how this sounds," Madison said, tears forming. "But Connor and I have this connection, this intellectual chemistry that's different." My dad even said after meeting him that Connor was more my intellectual equal, someone who really challenges me. I should have felt rage, should have made a scene. Instead, odd calm settled over me, the focused clarity I get debugging complex code. "Give me your hand," I said quietly. Madison looked confused but extended her left hand. I gently removed the engagement ring and placed it in my jacket pocket. "You have 48 hours to move out of the loft. I'll stay at my sister Jennifer's until Friday. After that, locks get changed." "Nathan, wait, we should talk like adults," she said, panic replacing tears. "Handle the deposits, the gifts, the announcements. You should have thought about that before accepting another man's proposal while wearing my ring," I replied, standing and placing 20s on the table. "Talk to your intellectual equal about logistics. I'm sure he'll have brilliant insights." I walked out, hands steady, mind cataloging what needed doing. Call Jennifer, document everything, separate finances, protect myself legally. Behind me, Madison called my name. I didn't turn around. The next day at Jennifer's, my lawyer sister and I reviewed everything over coffee while my phone exploded with Madison's family messages. Her father Richard texted about how sometimes people need to follow their hearts even if timing is unfortunate. Her mother called twice about how these things happen, and Madison's always been passionate. Her brother Tyler messaged, "Dude, this is messed up, but she seems really happy with Connor. Maybe it's for the best." Jennifer snorted, reading over my shoulder. "They're acting like she discovered cosmic truth instead of just cheating. We need to check finances immediately. Someone capable of secret engagements is capable of other things." That night in Jennifer's guest room, I finally let myself feel it. Not dramatic breakdown, but deep aching betrayal mixed with unexpected relief. Madison had shown exactly who she was. I dodged worse than a broken engagement. I dodged a lifetime with someone who could look me in the eye daily for 2 weeks, plan our future, and never mention she'd promised that same future elsewhere. My phone buzzed. "Nathan, please, we need to talk rationally. Connor and I didn't plan this. Sometimes love finds you unexpectedly. You deserve someone who loves you like I love Connor. This hurts now, but one day you'll thank me for being honest." I screenshot it for Jennifer, then blocked the number. Right then, I decided to handle this with methodical precision. Document everything, protect myself legally, walk away from Madison's chaos with dignity intact. I had no idea that 48 hours later, going through our apartment before changing locks, I'd discover evidence transforming hurt into cold, calculating determination to ensure Madison never played victim in our story. Thursday afternoon, I returned to our downtown loft with Jennifer and a locksmith, expecting to just change locks and catalog what Madison had taken. Walking through felt surreal, like touring a museum of an ended life. Her closet half empty, bathroom counter cleared of expensive skincare products. I was maintaining composure until I opened her nightstand drawer looking for spare keys and found a folder labeled Wedding Planning. But it wasn't our wedding inside. Receipts, hotel confirmations, printouts for her and Connor. A custom Omega watch purchased 3 weeks ago for $4,200 with a gift note. For my real future, can't wait to spend forever with you. Hotel receipts from Portland, 2 separate weekends when she'd claimed girls' weekends with college friends. Romantic restaurant reservations, wine tastings, couples spa packages. All paid from our joint savings account we'd been building for our Japan honeymoon. I sat on the bed doing math that made my chest tight. Jennifer found me 20 minutes later, methodically photographing receipts with my phone. "Nathan, what did you find?" she asked, seeing my face. "She's been planning this at least a month," I said, eerily calm. October 15th, Portland hotel when she said she was visiting her roommate going through divorce. October 23rd, another Portland weekend during her supposed team retreat. November 2nd, this custom watch, same day she reminded me to finalize our wedding bands. Jennifer grabbed the folder, lawyer brain activated. "This is financial fraud. Over $12,000 withdrawn from your savings in 6 weeks. $12,000 of careful budgeting and smart investing, transformed into romantic gestures for another man." I pulled up our banking app, seeing withdrawals I'd been too trusting to scrutinize. "She listed them as wedding expenses," I said, almost laughing at the audacity. I thought she was handling vendor deposits. Jennifer was already calling her banking contact to document everything and file fraud claims. While she made calls, I continued searching, finding more evidence. A burner phone in her gym bag with hundreds of texts to Connor about how Nathan's so predictable and he'll never suspect anything. Photos together she'd never posted publicly, keeping Instagram carefully curated to show only our relationship. The locksmith finished while I boxed everything Madison left behind. The coffee maker I'd bought for her birthday, she told Connor she hated my cheap taste in appliances. Books I'd given her, unread, while she'd apparently devoured Connor's recommendations. Someone knocked. Through the new peephole, Rachel, Madison's sorority best friend. We'd been cordial at countless dinners. I opened cautiously. "Nathan, I'm so sorry," Rachel said, genuinely distressed. I tried warning her this was insane, that Connor was probably playing her, that she was destroying something real for fantasy. She cut me out 2 weeks ago for not being supportive of her true love. "You knew?" I asked. 3 weeks ago I saw them at a Portland restaurant. I was there for work, and there's Madison having intimate dinner with some guy who definitely wasn't you. When I confronted her, she made me promise not to tell because she needed time to figure out feelings and didn't want to hurt you unnecessarily. I should have told you immediately. I was exhausted to be angry. She would have done this anyway. "For what it's worth," Rachel continued, "I told her Connor seems too good to be true. The way he just happened at that conference, immediate proposal, supposedly successful tech entrepreneur, but I can't find real information about his company online. Something feels off." Madison called me jealous and toxic when I suggested she verify his background. That caught my attention. Rachel showed me her research. Connor's digital presence was oddly minimal for someone supposedly in tech leadership. "I think he might be running some con," Rachel said. But Madison's desperate to believe this intellectual soulmate fantasy. Her parents encourage it because Connor said right things about appreciating their daughter's intelligence. They think you held her back. After Rachel left, Jennifer emerged from calls. Good news, banks flagging those transactions, filing fraud claims. You'll likely recover most since you can prove misuse of joint funds. Bad news, Madison's father called threatening countersuit if we pursue harassment charges. I laughed. Harassment for documenting her theft? Rich people logic, Jennifer shrugged. They're trying to intimidate you into walking away quietly. But I've already filed everything. By Monday, there's legal record of exactly what Madison did. That night at Jennifer's, I felt the weight of everything. Not just betrayal, but premeditation. Madison hadn't made impulsive mistakes. She'd systematically planned leaving while using our shared resources to build her new life, lying daily as we addressed wedding invitations and tasted cakes. My phone buzzed with email from unknown address. Subject: please read this. From Madison: Nathan, I know you're angry and you have every right to be. But you need to understand what Connor and I have is real. It's about finally feeling seen and understood by someone who gets me intellectually. You're good, but we were never really equals. Connor challenges me in ways you never could. I'm sorry I hurt you, but not sorry I found my person. Please don't make this harder. Let's handle this like adults. Also, I need apartment access for my grandmother's china and family heirlooms. Locks being changed is unnecessary and petty. I forwarded to Jennifer. Note how she's more concerned about china than the $12,000 she stole. Her immediate response: she can get court order for property. I'm getting restraining order if she continues contact. This woman is delusional. Lying in bed, I realized something important. I wasn't heartbroken over losing Madison. I was angry about being fooled, wasting 4 years on someone capable of this deception. But the relationship itself? The future we'd planned? I didn't actually miss it. What I missed was the idea of it, the comfort of having a plan. Without that, I felt unmoored but also, unexpectedly, free. 6 weeks passed in paperwork, lawyer meetings, and rebuilding my life. Jennifer's fraud claim progressed, disputed funds frozen, and I'd moved to a smaller Capitol Hill apartment. Clean slate, no Madison memories everywhere. I was finally sleeping through nights when emails started. First came at 2 a.m. Tuesday from new email address. Subject: I need your help. Against better judgment, I opened it. Nathan, I know we're not together anymore, but I'm in really difficult position and you're the only person I can turn to. Connor and I are trying to book our wedding venue, beautiful vineyard in Napa Valley, but they need $8,000 deposit by Friday and Connor's startup is going through temporary cash flow issue. They're about to close major venture capital round, but timing is terrible. I know this is awkward, but you've always been generous and I'm hoping you can help out just this once. I can pay you back in 3 months when Connor's funding comes through. Please, Nathan. This is my dream wedding venue. I stared in disbelief. She wanted me to fund her wedding to the man she'd left me for. The audacity was impressive. I forwarded to Jennifer. Is she actually insane? Jennifer's response: don't reply. She's testing boundaries to see if she can still manipulate you. Textbook financial abuse attempt. I didn't respond, but Madison wasn't deterred. 3 days later: Nathan, I haven't heard back about the venue deposit. Deadline is tomorrow and I'm getting really anxious. This isn't just about me, it's about doing the right thing. You've always prided yourself on being a good person, and good people help others even when uncomfortable. I'm going through difficult transition and you have means to make this easier. It's just $8,000. That's nothing to you. Nothing to me. Like I printed money instead of working 50-hour weeks saving it. Emails escalated, coming every few days with increasingly desperate, accusatory tones. I can't believe you're being this petty and vindictive over our breakup. We're adults, Nathan. Connor and I had to settle for less expensive venue because you refused to help. Hope you're happy sabotaging my happiness out of spite. My dad was right about you. You always were small-minded about money. Successful people invest in relationships, even after they end. Then nostalgia tactics. Remember when you said you'd do anything to make me happy? I guess that was only true when you thought you owned me. Real love doesn't end just because relationship does. I showed emails to Zoe, my coworker who'd become a friend during this mess. We'd started having lunch after she'd overheard me on phone with Jennifer about fraud case. Zoe was a UX designer, smart and empathetic, with this way of cutting through nonsense. She's literally asking you to pay for her wedding to another man, Zoe said, shaking her head. That's delusional entitlement. She genuinely seems to think I owe her this, I said. Like our 4 years created permanent financial obligation. You should respond once, Zoe suggested. Make it crystal clear you're not her backup bank. I typed single reply. Madison, I will not provide any financial assistance to you, now or ever. Please stop contacting me. Any future communication should go through my lawyer. Her response came within minutes. Wow. Just wow. I can't believe you're being this cruel. I guess I never really knew you at all. Connor would never treat someone this way, even an ex. He actually understands relationships evolve and change, but that doesn't mean you abandon people completely. This is why we didn't work, Nathan. You're cold and transactional about everything, even human connections. I blocked that email, but she created another. Then another. Each with slightly different appeals. I'm not asking for gift, just a loan. This is about basic human decency. You're proving everyone right who said you were emotionally unavailable. The breaking point came when Madison got my work email. Since you're ignoring my personal emails, I'm reaching out here. I need $3,500 for wedding planning expenses. Connor's investors are asking more questions than expected and funding is delayed another month. I know you get quarterly bonuses and yours should be coming soon. I'm literally begging you, Nathan. Don't make me ask my parents because they'll never let me hear end of it about marrying someone who can't even afford his own wedding. I immediately forwarded to HR and IT. They blocked her address and offered to pursue harassment charges. I declined, but security made a note in case she tried showing up at office. That evening, Jennifer called with update on fraud case. Bank recovered $11,400 of the $12,000. Madison has to pay it back in installments or face criminal charges. Her father's lawyers tried arguing it was gift, but burn her phone texts where she literally says, Nathan will never notice if I'm careful, destroyed that argument. She has to pay it back? I asked, feeling genuine satisfaction. Monthly installments of $950 for a year, starting next month. If she misses payment, criminal charges get filed automatically. Her father is furious. He didn't realize she'd actually stolen from you, thought this was just messy breakup where you were vindictive. Madison needed $8,000 for dream venue while simultaneously paying me $950 monthly for stealing. The irony was delicious. 2 days later, voicemail from unknown number. Madison's voice crying, Nathan, please pick up. I know you're screening calls, but this is emergency. My parents found out about fraud case and they're refusing to help with any wedding expenses until I take responsibility for my actions. Connor's upset because I told him I had money saved for wedding and now he knows I don't. Everything's falling apart and I really need someone who understands me right now. I deleted voicemail without responding. Madison started sending Venmo and PayPal requests with pathetic captions, $8,000, wedding venue, please help, $500, just for groceries, I'm struggling, $200, emergency car repair, literally stranded. I declined each and blocked her on every payment platform. 2 months after our breakup, I was finally sleeping peacefully when my phone rang at 3 a.m. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Madison's voice came through hysterical, barely intelligible through sobs. Nathan, oh my God, please, I need you to listen. Connor's married. He's married with kids. He has a whole family in Denver and I'm such an idiot. I sat up, brain struggling to process. Madison, slow down. What are you talking about? His wife confronted me at Starbucks today. Sarah. She showed me everything. Marriage certificate, photos of their kids' birthday parties, screenshots of Connor's active Tinder profile where he targets women at tech conferences. Nathan, he's been running this con for years. I'm not special. I'm not his intellectual equal. I'm just another Mark. Her voice cracked. I was scrolling Instagram and found his real account, not the fake one. Family photos everywhere. Their 10-year anniversary post from last month calling Sarah his soulmate. His kids are 7 and 5. He's been married this whole time. I felt strange disconnect, listening to Madison's world implode while sitting in my quiet apartment. Part of me wanted to hang up, let her deal with consequences. But another part, the part that had loved her for years, felt something like pity. I'm sorry that happened to you, I said, meaning it. That's genuinely awful. I left you for a con artist, she sobbed. I threw away everything real for someone using me. Sarah said Connor specifically targets women in tech who seem financially stable. He tells them about fake startups, gets them emotionally invested, then starts asking for money. She's been tracking him for months. Did you give him money? I asked, already knowing the answer. $23,000, Madison whispered. For his startup. For investor meetings. For bridge funding until VC money came through. Nathan, I maxed out 3 credit cards. I took out a personal loan. I was going to ask my parents for more before they found out about fraud case. $23,000. More than she'd stolen from me, handed over willingly to a married con artist. The irony was staggering. Sarah said he wasn't even at that tech conference for business, Madison continued. He specifically targets those events to meet women. The Space Needle proposal talks about intellectual connection, the way he made me feel special, all a script he's used before. I found posts from other women on a forum. He used exact same lines on all of us. I could hear her spiraling. Where are you now? At my mom's. Crying on her couch like pathetic cliché. Sarah found me because Connor used my name on hotel reservation, tracked me through work profile. She wasn't even angry at me, Nathan. Almost sympathetic, like I was just another victim of her husband's hobby. Madison's voice grew smaller. She showed me his fake startup website. Completely fabricated. Team photos are stock images. Office address is a UPS store. Venture capital firms he claimed were interested don't exist. Connor doesn't even work in tech. He's freelance photographer who runs elaborate cons on the side. A freelance photographer. Madison had left a successful software developer for a con artist photographer who sold her fantasy startup story. I went to police, Madison said. But Sarah said they probably won't do much. Connor's careful to structure everything as gifts or loans between romantic partners. No paper trail proving fraud. He's been doing this for years without consequences. I'm sorry, I said again, because what else was there? Can we meet? Madison asked suddenly, desperately. Please, Nathan. I need to see you. Someone who actually knows me, who understands what I've been through. We could go to our old coffee shop, the one where we had first date. I just need to talk to someone real. And there it was. Real reason for 3 a.m. call. Not to warn me or process trauma, but to pull me back into her chaos. See if the safety net she called me months ago was still there to catch her fall. Madison, no, I said firmly. You made your choices. I'm sorry Connor turned out to be con artist, but that doesn't change anything between us. But I made biggest mistake of my life, she pleaded. I see that now. You were real, Nathan. Stable and honest and actually cared about me. Connor was just fantasy, and I was too stupid to see it. You weren't stupid, I said, surprising myself. You wanted something different from what we had, and you chased it. It didn't work out, but that's not on me to fix. Please, she begged. I can't handle this alone. My parents are furious. My friends all try to warn me. Rachel won't answer calls. You're the only person who might understand. I understand you're in pain, I said, but I'm not your emotional support system anymore. You ended that when you accepted another man's proposal. Call a therapist, Madison. Call crisis line. But don't call me. Nathan, wait. I hung up. Hands shaking, adrenaline pumping. I sat in dark for a long time, processing. Connor was married. Madison had been conned out of $23,000. The intellectual equal, the tech startup genius, the man who supposedly challenged her in ways I never could, fraud running long con on vulnerable women. I should have felt vindicated, should have enjoyed karma. Instead, just felt tired. Madison had destroyed our relationship chasing fantasy, and that fantasy had destroyed her financially and emotionally. No satisfaction in that, just sad recognition that some people learn the hard way. My phone lit up with texts from same number. I know you hate me, but I'm begging you. I have no one else. Please just meet me for coffee. 1 hour. That's all I'm asking. I blocked the number and went back to bed. Whatever Madison was going through, she'd have to navigate without me. I'd been her safety net for 4 years, always there to catch her when she fell. But she burned that net when she jumped, and I wasn't rebuilding it from ashes. Zoe was right, Madison wasn't done. 3 days after the 3 a.m. call, packages started arriving at my apartment. Thai food from our favorite restaurant with note. Remember when we'd order this every Friday? I miss our traditions. I gave the food to my neighbor and threw away the note. Next day, handwritten letter arrived, 5 pages detailing her growth journey and therapy insights. Dr. Peterson says I have attachment issues stemming from childhood instability, which made me susceptible to Connor's manipulation. But recognizing patterns is first step to breaking them. You represented stability, Nathan, and I took that for granted because I'd never experienced real security before. I'm learning to value consistency over excitement. I skimmed the rest, words about gratitude, mistakes, second chances, and filed it with other evidence Jennifer was keeping. Then came the PowerPoint presentation via email. Subject line: Why we're meant to be a data-driven analysis. I opened it out of morbid curiosity. Slide 1. Compatibility metrics, a retrospective. Slide 2. Charts showing our shared values alignment and long-term goal synchronization. Slide 3. Mistakes were made, a statistical analysis of poor decision-making. She'd created graphs comparing relationship stability factors between me and Connor, with Connor scoring 0 across every category. Final slide. Proposed path forward, rebuilding trust through measurable actions. It was simultaneously impressive and completely delusional. She thought she could logic her way back into my life with charts, like our relationship was a business proposal needing better data visualization. I showed it to Zoe during lunch. She nearly choked laughing. She made a PowerPoint? An actual PowerPoint trying to win you back. With pie charts, I confirmed. Look at this one, time investment comparison, quality versus quantity. The audacity, Zoe said, scrolling through slides. She's treating your relationship like quarterly earnings report. Market analysis suggests Nathan offers superior ROI compared to fraudulent alternatives. We both cracked up, but my laughter died at the end. She CC'd this to her therapist for professional validation of her readiness for reconciliation. That's either HIPAA violation or therapist doesn't exist, Zoe observed. Either way, this is getting creepy. Emails continued daily, each more desperate. Madison had apparently told her therapist, real or imagined, all about me, and now felt I should know she was doing the work to become worthy of second chance. Then came the call from Madison's father. I almost didn't answer when I saw Richard's name, but curiosity won. Nathan, it's Richard. I hope you'll hear me out. His voice had lost that condescending edge. I'm listening, I said cautiously. I was wrong about Connor. About the whole situation. Madison's mother and I encouraged something we shouldn't have. We thought Connor represented success and ambition, but failed to see that real stability was already there. With you. I waited, saying nothing. Madison's devastated. Not just about Connor being fraud, but about losing you. She's been in therapy 3 times a week, trying to understand why she sabotaged something good. Her mother and I want to help make this right. How exactly? I asked. I'm prepared to invest in your startup. The one you mentioned at Thanksgiving, the project management software. I've looked into it, and I believe it has real potential. Consider it an apology and investment in your future. Our future, if you're willing to give Madison another chance. So that's where this was going. Richard trying to buy his daughter's happiness. Let me get this straight, I said slowly. You want to give me money for my business in exchange for dating your daughter? Not exchange, exactly. Just showing good faith. Madison's serious about changing. She's cut off old friends who encouraged superficial lifestyle. She's budgeting, working extra hours to pay back that loan. She's genuinely trying. Richard, I appreciate the offer, but no. My answer was no when Madison asked for wedding money, and it's no now when you're offering investment money. I'm not for sale. Nathan, please. Just think about it. Madison's my daughter. Seeing her this broken. She made mistakes, but she's paying for them. Doesn't she deserve chance at redemption? She deserves a chance, I agreed. Just not with me. I hope she finds happiness, Richard. But I've moved on. I hung up. An hour later, Madison texted from another new number. My dad called you, didn't he? I didn't ask him to do that, I swear. He's just desperate to fix things because he feels guilty. But Nathan, please don't let his interference ruin any chance we might have. I love you. I've always loved you, even when I was too stupid to realize what that meant. I didn't respond, but messages kept coming. I'm not the same person who left you. Losing everything through Connor, my savings, my dignity, it changed me. My therapist says I was running from intimacy because true vulnerability scared me more than being alone. Connor was safe because he was fake. You were terrifying because you were real. Please just talk to me. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I blocked that number too, but Madison had learned persistence. Flowers started arriving at my workplace. Not small bouquets, massive arrangements that made coworkers whisper. Each came with cards. Forgiveness is divine. Everyone deserves second chance. Love means never giving up. HR called me in after 5th delivery. Nathan, we need to talk about the flower situation, my manager Karen said, looking uncomfortable. It's disrupting office environment, and some colleagues are concerned this might escalate. I've blocked her on everything, I explained. I don't know how to make her stop. We can help with that, Karen said. We'll refuse all deliveries addressed to you and contact her employer about harassment. But Nathan, if this continues, you might need legal intervention. That evening, I came home to packages stacked outside my apartment. Gifts I'd mentioned wanting months ago, specific mechanical keyboard, books from my reading list, vintage poster from my favorite band. Madison had kept mental notes of every casual comment, now using them to prove she paid attention. Notes attached broke my heart a little. You mentioned wanting this for home office setup. I remember everything you told me, Nathan. Every dream, every goal, every small detail that made you happy. I took it all for granted, but I remember now. I donated everything to Goodwill unopened and changed delivery instructions to refuse all packages. Final straw came when Madison's mother showed up at my apartment one Sunday morning. I opened door to find Patricia standing there, looking smaller and more vulnerable than I'd ever seen her. Mrs. Anderson, I said, shocked. Nathan, please, I just need a moment. May I come in? Against better judgment, I let her in. She sat on my couch, twisting tissue in her hands. Madison's destroying herself, Patricia said. She's not eating, barely sleeping. All she does is work and go to therapy and try to figure out ways to reach you. I'm scared for her, Nathan. As mother, I'm terrified. I'm sorry she's struggling, I said carefully. But that's not my responsibility anymore. I know. But seeing your child in pain, we pushed her toward Connor. Richard and I thought success meant money and status. We taught her to value wrong things. This is our fault as much as hers. Madison made her own choices, I said. She's adult. She was adult we raised to believe love should look like transaction, Patricia countered. That relationships should elevate social status. When she met Connor, she saw dollar signs and prestige. When she was with you, she saw comfort, stability, things we taught her to take for granted instead of treasure. I didn't know what to say. She's written you letter. Patricia pulled envelope from her purse. She's been working on it in therapy for weeks. Will you at least read it? I took letter but didn't open it. Mrs. Anderson, I hope Madison finds peace and happiness. I really do. But it won't be with me. Please tell her to stop. Stop the gifts, messages, attempts to reach me through family. It's over. Patricia left looking defeated, and I put unopened letter in drawer. 3 weeks later, Zoe invited me to a charity tech gala her company was sponsoring. You need to get out and network, she said. Plus, open bar and I hate going to these things alone. I'd been spending more time with Zoe lately. What started as friendly lunches had evolved into weekend coffee meetups, movie nights, dinners where we split checks without drama. She was easy to be around, sharp and funny without constant need for validation Madison had required. When she asked me to the gala, something shifted. This wasn't just friends attending an event. This was a date, even if neither of us said it explicitly. I showed up in my best suit and found Zoe waiting in the hotel lobby, wearing stunning red dress that made me forget how to form coherent sentences for solid 10 seconds. You clean up nice, she said, smiling. You look incredible, I managed, offering my arm. She took it naturally, and we walked into the ballroom. That's when I saw Madison standing near silent auction tables, wearing the exact dress she'd planned for our rehearsal dinner. Champagne-colored silk that had cost more than my monthly rent. She looked thinner, fragile in ways that had nothing to do with weight. When our eyes met across the room, her face went through shock, hurt, then desperate determination. She started walking toward us, her mother materializing beside her like backup quarterback. Nathan, Madison said, voice trembling. I didn't know you'd be here. Madison, I acknowledged, keeping my arm linked with Zoe's. This is Zoe. Zoe, this is Madison. We've heard about each other, Zoe said pleasantly, offering her hand. Contrast between them was stark. Zoe confident and relaxed, Madison barely holding herself together. Patricia stepped forward, clearly on mission. Nathan, I'm glad we ran into you. Madison has something she'd like to say, and I hope you'll give her courtesy of listening. She's been working incredibly hard on herself these past months. Madison pulled folded paper from her clutch. I know you didn't read my letter, but I've been attending therapy sessions specifically focused on repairing broken trust. Dr. Peterson even wrote letters supporting my readiness for reconciliation. Please, just read it. She tried to hand me the paper. I didn't take it. Madison, I appreciate your working on yourself. That's important. But it doesn't change anything between us. How can you say that? Her composure started cracking. I've done everything right. Taken responsibility, gone to therapy, cut toxic people from my life. I've learned humility, Nathan. I understand value of authentic partnership now. Isn't that what you wanted? What I wanted was partner who didn't get engaged to someone else while planning our wedding, I said calmly. You've grown. That's wonderful. But growth doesn't erase actions. Zoe's presence beside me seemed to register fully then. Madison's eyes went to where Zoe's hand rested on my arm, natural intimacy of how we stood together. How long has this been going on? Madison demanded, voice rising. How long have you been seeing her? That's none of your business, I said. But for the record, unlike you, I actually ended one relationship before starting another. Madison turned to Zoe, desperation replacing anger. You don't know him like I do. You don't know about his morning routines, his weird habit of organizing code by color, how he needs exactly 3 ice cubes in his bourbon. I know every detail of who he is. Actually, Zoe said gently, he uses 4 ice cubes now. People change, Madison. Nathan's not the same person you left either. That simple observation seemed to hit Madison harder than anything else. Realization that while she'd been frozen in therapy trying to become worthy of past relationship, I'd been moving forward, changing, becoming someone new. Nathan, please, Madison's voice broke completely. Don't throw away what we had over pride. I made mistake, biggest mistake of my life. But I'm begging you, can't we at least try? Doesn't 4 years mean anything? It meant everything, I said quietly. Past tense. You didn't make mistake, Madison. You made series of calculated choices over weeks and months. You stole from me, lied to me, chose someone else. That's not mistake. That's who you are when you think you can do better. I thought I could do better, Madison admitted, tears streaming. And I was wrong. So wrong. Connor destroyed me, Nathan. Financially, emotionally, destroyed my reputation. And through all of it, all I could think was that you would never have done this to me. You would have protected me, valued me, actually been what you promised. And you would have kept taking me for granted, I said. Because that's what you do, Madison. You don't value stability until it's gone. You don't appreciate consistency until you've experienced chaos. I don't want to be safe choice you settle for after exciting option blows up. Patricia tried intervening. Nathan, surely you understand people make poor decisions when confused about what they want. Madison's not confused anymore. She knows exactly who she wants. Mrs. Anderson, with all due respect, Madison knowing what she wants now doesn't obligate me to provide it. Some bridges burn so completely that not even ashes remain. Finality in my voice seemed to penetrate Madison's desperation. Her shoulders slumped, mascara streaking cheeks. So that's it? You're just going to walk away with her and pretend 4 years meant nothing? I'm going to walk away because 4 years did mean something, I corrected. It meant I loved someone who didn't love me back the same way. Who saw me as placeholder until something shinier came along. I deserve better than that. And honestly, so do. But you won't find it by trying to resurrect something you killed. Madison opened her mouth to respond, but nothing came out. Patricia took her daughter's arm, looking decades older. We should go, sweetheart, Patricia said softly. I'm sorry, Madison whispered, not to me specifically, just to the universe. I'm so sorry for all of it. Zoe and I watched them leave, Madison leaning heavily on her mother, champagne dress that was supposed to celebrate our future now just another symbol of poor choices and broken dreams. "Are you okay?" Zoe asked once they were gone. I thought about it honestly. Yeah, I actually am. That was closure I didn't know I needed. "She really did love you," Zoe observed. "In her own broken way." "I know. But broken love isn't enough. Not anymore." 6 months later, Zoe and I moved into a modern condo in Bellevue with rooftop garden where we grew herbs and vegetables for our cooking experiments. We'd painted the office space together, arguing good-naturedly about whether sage green or light gray was more conducive to productivity. Zoe won with sage green, and she was right. It looked perfect. My software startup secured legitimate funding, not from Madison's father, but from venture capital firm that actually believed in the product. The mental health app we were developing focused on relationship patterns and emotional intelligence, helping people recognize red flags before they became catastrophic. Ironic that my failed engagement had led to creating something that might help others avoid similar disasters. I brought Zoe on as lead UX designer. Watching her work was fascinating. She approached problems with combination of empathy and logic that made users feel understood while maintaining clean, functional design. Our first beta testers said the app felt like having really insightful friend who actually knows what they're talking about. I deleted most social media months ago, keeping only LinkedIn for professional networking. But occasionally I'd hear updates through tech community grapevine. Madison's social media presence had vanished after screenshots of Connor's wife's confrontation went viral in our industry. She'd become cautionary tale, the woman who left stable relationship for con artist, complete with PowerPoint presentations and workplace flower deliveries. Rachel reached out once to tell me Madison had moved to Austin to work remotely for startup incubator. "She's trying to rebuild somewhere people don't know the story," Rachel explained. "How is she?" I asked, surprising myself by caring. "Getting better, I think. She's in therapy still, actually working on herself instead of trying to become what she thinks someone wants. It's hard watching someone you love learn humility the hardest way possible." I understood that. Despite everything, I didn't wish Madison pain. I just didn't want to be part of her healing journey. One evening in early spring, I was debugging code when my phone buzzed with notification. Email from address I didn't recognize, subject line simply, "Closure." I almost deleted it unread, but something made me open it. "Nathan, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, and I'm not asking for response. I'm writing this as part of my therapy work, making genuine amends without expecting forgiveness. I'm sorry for everything. Not just for leaving you for Connor, but for years before that when I took you for granted. For treating you like safety net instead of partner. For measuring your worth by how you made me look instead of how you made me feel. Connor was con artist, but I conned myself into believing I deserved better than what I had. Truth is, I didn't deserve you at all. You were kind, consistent, thoughtful, all things I'd been taught to see as boring instead of beautiful. I destroyed something real chasing fantasy, and I have to live with that. I hope you're happy, Nathan. I mean that genuinely. Not bitter. I hope you're happy, people say when they're actually miserable, but real hope that you found what you deserve. Someone who values stability, who appreciates your attention to detail, who understands that love isn't about constant excitement but about showing up every day. I'm sorry for everything, and I hope one day I can look back on this without crushing weight of regret. But mostly, I hope you've moved forward without looking back. Goodbye, Nathan. Thank you for 4 years, even if I didn't appreciate them at time. Madison, I read it twice, looking for manipulation or hidden requests. But it seemed genuine, real apology without expectations. I saved it to folder Jennifer and I had created for documentation, then closed my laptop. Everything okay? Zoe asked, emerging from bedroom where she'd been sketching new interface designs. Madison sent an apology email, I said. Actual apology or, "I'm sorry but maybe we could try again" apology? Actual apology. Therapy homework, probably, but it seemed sincere. Zoe sat beside me on couch, our rescue dog Debug immediately jumping up to join us. We'd adopted him 3 months ago, scruffy terrier mix with one ear that flopped and another that stood straight up. Madison had always wanted designer breed dog, something Instagram-worthy. Debug was perfect in his imperfection. Are you going to respond? Zoe asked. I thought about it honestly. No. She said she didn't expect one, and I think responding would just reopen doors that need to stay closed. She's working on herself, I'm building something new. That's enough closure for both of us. Zoe nodded, understanding without needing explanation. That was the thing about being with someone secure. You didn't have to justify every decision or prove commitment constantly. She just trusted me. We spent next hour working on the app, debug snoring between us, Seattle's skyline visible through our windows. This was what happiness looked like. Not grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but quiet evenings with someone who made ordinary moments feel meaningful. Month later, I ran into Rachel at tech conference. She looked happier, more relaxed. Nathan, I heard about your funding round. Congratulations on app launch. Thanks. How are you? Good. Really good. I got promoted, started dating someone new. Life's been kind. She paused. I should tell you, Madison's doing okay. She's seeing someone in Austin, a teacher. Very different from her usual type, but that seems to be point. She's learning to value different things. I'm glad, I said, meaning it. She deserves to be happy. She does. And so do you. I saw an announcement about you and Zoe getting engaged. Congratulations. I smiled, unconsciously touching ring in my pocket. I was planning to propose that weekend at rooftop garden. Thank you. It feels right, you know? Like everything that happened with Madison, as painful as it was, led me exactly where I needed to be. Rachel nodded. Sometimes worst betrayals lead to best new chapters. Madison taught you what you don't want. Zoe's showing you what you deserve. After Rachel left, I pulled out my phone and opened email app. Madison's apology was still sitting there, read but never replied to. I thought about sending something back, I forgive you, or I hope you find happiness too, but decided against it. Some stories don't need perfect endings. They just need to end. That weekend, I proposed to Zoe in our rooftop garden, surrounded by herbs we'd planted together. She said yes before I'd finished asking, laughing and crying and calling me idiot for being nervous. Did you really think I'd say no? She asked, examining ring through happy tears. I had whole speech prepared, I admitted. 3 drafts actually. Of course you did, she said, kissing me. That's so perfectly you. I never heard from Madison again. Through grapevine, I learned she eventually married the teacher, had small ceremony in Austin, seemed genuinely content with quieter life than she'd once imagined wanting. She'd found her own version of happiness, and I was genuinely glad. As for me, Zoe and I got married in small ceremony at Bellevue Botanical Garden. Jennifer was my best woman, making jokes about how this wedding actually happened unlike last one I'd planned. Our app launched successfully, helping thousands of couples recognize unhealthy patterns. And Debug learned to ring bell when he wanted outside. Sometimes I thought about that night in Italian restaurant when Madison told me about Connor, how calm I'd felt removing her ring, how clearly I'd seen end of something I'd thought would last forever. At time, it felt like my life was falling apart. Looking back, I realized it was actually falling into place. The greatest revenge wasn't hatred or vindication. It was building something better with someone who actually wanted to be there. It was finding peace not in Madison's downfall, but in my own rise. It was learning that sometimes best thing someone can do is walk away and let you discover what you really deserve. And what I deserved, I found in Sage Green office with women who thought my organizational habits were charming instead of controlling, who valued stability instead of just settling for it, who chose me first and kept choosing me every day. That was real ending, not revenge, not karma, just quiet satisfaction of knowing I dodged bullet, learned from it, and found something infinitely better on other side.